Hello, YouTube, and welcome yet to another episode of Cookie RC. This is a continuation of the prior video. Um, in all fairness, I already fixed the wheel wobble on the front two tires. We can check it out right here. No wobble there. Over here, no wobble there. And if you watch my last video, you know how I did at least one tire in the front. And then I already did this back one. Now, we're about to do it here. It's barely noticeable, but you can feel it when you pull it in and out. But since I didn't do a back one, I will do a back one for you on camera so you see the simplicity of it and how fast it is to actually do. And then we'll jump out into the next upgrades, which I'm not sure in what direction I'm heading, but we will get there. So let's bear this through together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wheel nut off. Well, if I can keep hold of the tool. All right, wheel nuts off. Take it off. Okay. I still can't get over how they have the metal hexes on the 124019. I love that. That's actually really cool. All right, take the hex nut off. Take the pin out. Very important, don't lose that. And then you're going to snap off the link rod. Link rod snapped off. Pull out the dog bone, get out of your way. Get the axle out. Axle's out. Then you're going to pull out the inner bearing out. Inner bearings out. And then we're coming in with the new bearing. MR74 2RS for those who have been following my videos. Slightly thicker. Just put one on the inside. Okay. That does it. You're going to put the axle back in. You're going to put your dog bone back in. Line it up. About right there. Put your link rod back in to hold the tire in place or the axle in place. That's it. That's all there is to it. Then you install your wheel back on. Well, nope. You need your pin. Sorry about that. Put your pin back in. Put your hex back on. Line it up right on the pin. Put your wheel on. And that, my friend, is it. Put the nut back on the wheel. Well, if I can get the wheel nut back on there. Now, of course, you want to Loctite these as you put them back on. At least that was the case with the 144001. But in this case, I'm not going to do it because these wheels are going to get replaced because I'm in the process of doing the upgrades on this car. So, and there it is. No, nothing. I can tug on that wheel. No wheel wobble. Gone. Everything moves freely. Everything's nice. So all four tires, at least in my case with this particular car, with these particular parts, I only had to put one of the MR74's 2RS's on the inside part of the hub on the front tires and on the inside part of the hub on the rear tires, as you saw in the previous video, the front, and now in this video you saw the rear. I'm going to pause for a second to see where we're going next. All right, we're back. So I have decided that it is time to check these shocks, see how they came stock, how they came filled, well, what the proper rebound would be for normal use. Of course, there's a guy out there, his name, shout out to me, him, RC. He has a 2 series video. Look him up. I'm telling you, me, him, RC. If you're looking how to set your shocks and what springs to use on your car, go check him out. He has a very comprehensive video of a set of springs that he uses on these cars, and he also has the shock rebounds with rebound and no rebound, like full rebound and no rebound at all. with different kind of springs, and you'll be able to tell the difference. So depending on how what your driving conditions are going to be, those videos will be beneficial to you. For now, I'm going to take just one off for demonstration purposes. It is the same around the horn with all these shocks. I am going to check what these shocks are factory. I'll do one at a time. Maybe I'll do all four so you can see at least from a factory perspective what the deviation is from shock to shock for the 1240019. So let's do that, and we're going to take this front top nut off up here on the top. Get the screwdriver in place. It's a fairly simple process to remove the shock. You just take it off of the top tower. All right. Nut coming off. Okay. That nut is out. Put all the parts apart so you don't lose anything. Okay, that's out. Now let's take the screw out on the bottom. Right here. Remember the place that it was in. I mean, you can choose either hole, but factory comes installed on the outside, and I'm just going to leave it like that for now because it keeps the car a little bit lower. Okay. Still a little bit more. All right, let's see what the rebound is on this. All right. So the next thing you want to do is you take this collar off. You see that groove there? Pull the spring back. Push that part out. This comes out from that groove. Take the spring out and check your rebound. Now, there should be a little bit of rebound on it. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's good. So these shocks from factory, and for how I use them, they have good rebound. Now that is the full length. It pretty much rebounds the full length. It doesn't give me resistance to the point where I can't get it all the way in. So that is good. Okay, some people like less rebound, but I'm okay with this amount of rebound. So it goes all the way in. It compresses all the way in. And it comes back all the way out. I like that. That's the way I like mine set. I want this car not to bounce too much, so that is pretty good. If you have it too loose, it's going to go all over the place. It's just going to start jumping on you. And here you can adjust it as needed. But this shock factory is perfect. So I'm not going to get into the whole, well, I'll just show you. From comparing, I can already tell you right now that this shock is slightly better than the factory ones from the 144001. I know that is true. They look the same, but they're really not. It has a couple of notches here to remove it. I'm having a hard time right now trying to get this thing off. Let me see if I can loosen this all the way down and get into it and see if I can get this open so you can see what's inside of there. Oh, the bottom one keeps trying to come loose. Let me see what kind of tool I can use here. I don't have my pliers with me, and I don't really want to bite into this, but the top is extremely tight. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So I got a pair of channel locks, but I don't want to bite into the body itself, so I'm just gonna kind of put the channel locks around the towel and bite on the hub right there. Now let's see if we can get this loose. There it goes. That's loose. All right, so fully extended, just to show you how much oil is in this thing. I'm gonna take this cap off. This one comes totally apart. It has that little bladder right there. Be careful with this, don't lose it. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell. All right, there you go. It's almost to the top. It's got like a 1 millimeter, I guess, to give room for the bladder cap to be on there, but there's a gap of about 1 millimeter from where the fluid is to the top. So in my case, and for the application, how I'm using my car, that is perfect. So I am not going to mess with it. And I can check the other ones, but I'm pretty sure they're all pretty much going to be the same. Line everything back up. Get it hand tight is good enough. You don't need to have it gorilla torqued on there. And then I'll put it back on off camera. All right, so I removed the second one, the one on this side, to see what the rebound is. The other one would come all the way out when I pushed it. This one does not. So that's almost all the way out, but not quite. So for this one, if I'm able to take this cap off, I'm going to show you how little you have to put of this. I want full rebound on these, so, but not to the point where it's binding the shock. So you gotta be careful with that. Oh, this bottom part of the shock is almost loose. It was loose actually. Same thing, gorilla torqued on there. Let's go back with our channel locks. Okay, these have a notch, if you can see it right there. Yeah, see that notch? That's where I'm putting the teeth and then twisting without putting too much pressure, just enough to get it started to loosen. All right, so I'm gonna go grab some of my oil. I'm gonna go, this one is slightly less. See, that one has like 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters in depth. I don't know if you can tell, but I can tell. So we're going to put some of my juice in there. I'm trying to get it out of the toolbox, I'm sorry. So I got a 42 weight. That should be pretty universal for different applications. And I only need a little bit, so it's not going to make much of a difference. I'm going to go ahead and put as much. This is the part that is interesting because it does not. When you're just doing adjustments, it's so fine that you would be surprised how little it takes. So I'm going to put 1 drop in. And if I can get a second drop out. There it goes, 2 drops. Now it looks like it has the exact amount that the other one had. And that should, in theory, give us full rebound. So we're going to check it out, see if it works. Put the cap back on. Hand tight it real good. Hopefully I didn't bind it because I put 2 or 3 drops in there. I can't remember. All right, so let's see what it does. There you go. Now I got my full rebound without binding the piston. You don't want to bind it. It's okay if it gives you a little bit of resistance, but as long as you can push it up without forcing it, then you're good. So now I have what I want. And then just to show you assembly, since I didn't do it on the last shock, you just make sure that the cup of the retainer that compresses the spring is facing the spring. Don't make the mistake to install it backwards. Then you put the spring back on, compress it a little bit, and then you take the notch, you put it onto the shaft, and then slide it on to the end cap where it screws onto the body, and there you go, and that's it. All right, I will pause for the next one. All right, so I remove the rear right, and this is what you don't want. So this has actually been a really good car to show you the difference on different kind of rebounds. So there's the shaft fully extended. If I go and compress, see right there, it shouldn't give me that much resistance to push in. I can push it in, but it's pretty hard to push in. So in this case, I have to take fluid out of this shock. So that's what I was saying. These cars are made, you know, they're all differently made. So you have to be careful what you do. You can't universally do the same thing on all 4 and expect it to be good because they're all going to be just a tad bit different. So there's just way too much rebound on these one in the rear, and what that's going to do, it's going to break seals, it's going to break O-rings, and you don't want that, obviously, because that's the bad thing. And again, it's gorilla torque, so I have to grab my pliers, and I'm going to show you a method that I use, okay? It doesn't mean that you have to do it this way, but I'm going to show you my method of how I remove fluid. I don't bleed it out. I'll show you how I do mine. Let me grab this and hopefully there it goes. Just get it started. I like the purple, so I don't want to scratch it at all. So just working it. All right, so we're going to remove this little bladder. All right, this one is overfull, or for whatever reason it has way too much rebound. So what I'm going to do is do the equivalent of adding a drop but taking it out. So the best way that I have figured out to do it is you grab a Q-tip and you dip just the tip of it until it reaches about an eighth of the way. And that should remove enough fluid, as you see, to be able to get a compression test on it again. If not, we'll repeat the process. But let's see what that did. And this is actually really getting fine tuning. So let me get this back on. I don't want to cross thread my, okay, so there it is. Nice and tight, hand tight, compression test. Check the bottoms. Those bottoms tend to come out with vibrations, so be careful with that. Just letting you know. All right, so compress. Oh, perfect. There you go. Nah, I guess I lost some fluid with the cap. Okay, so it doesn't fully extend how I like them, or not fully extend, but almost fully extend. So I guess in the process of taking the bladder off, it did get rid of some of the fluid that had excess in it. So we're gonna just add a drop in and get it where we want it. So open my 42. By the way, this is pretty good oil. Team Losi Racing oil. It works pretty good. I've been using it for a while now. There we go. One drop. Get the cap back on. Let's get that compression going. Line everything up. Don't tighten it too much that you break the bladder, because then you break seal and then your shocks are going to leak. All right. All right, let's see. Hand tight it real good. Okay. Now let's do the compression test. Perfect. There you go. That's how I like it. This it didn't come quite all the way out. It's got like an eighth. Yeah, that's okay. I'm good with that, because I mean we're not fine tuning for racing right now or nothing. It's just so you have a nice good little rebound. But it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna affect anything with the amount that it has play in it. So I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. So let's put that back on, and I'll be right back for the last shock. All right, we're back. So now I remove the left rear shock, and this one, as you can see, it gives me the full compression that I want. It has a little bit of play in it, but I'm okay with that. It's just barely. I'm not breaking the seal on this one because this one is just how the first front one was. So I'm just going to put it back together. But just to show you that every single shock on this car pretty much has a different compression rating based on, I guess, manufacturing. And it's fairly close. And it actually it's getting into the tedious for hobbyists that are not really racing the cars. I mean, I guess you could have it really fine-tuned for it to perform the best, but for the intended purposes of how we use these cars, or at least how I use them, is just bash them around and do my occasional speed runs on them, then they should be just perfectly fine with a little bit of deviance, not too much. I mean, you can try to get it perfect, but unless you're a master racer or something like that, the fine tuning is really more of a preference choice. I mean, I guess you try to get it as right as possible, as close as possible. But for me, in my eyes, the way that I run and the things that I do with the car, it is actually right where I need it to be. So it's perfect for me. So I'm done with the shocks. Finally. Now, if I can get this thing finished. Hold on, let me finish this off camera.